garage. Behind me, you can literally see Brandon Dawson's cars. You got a Natalie Workman car back there as well. How many of you are thinking big this Tuesday? I want to show of hands. I can see each and every one of you. There he goes. Marco's thinking big. Who else is thinking big today? That's right, Kevin. Kevin's thinking big. John's always thinking big. Who else is thinking big? Ben Beard, I don't see. Are you thinking big? There he is. He's thinking big. I like this. Hey, so we've got another vault. We're going into the Mentor Vault. We're going to hear more from Story Musgrave, NASA astronaut, on how the operational effectiveness that he learned at NASA can be applied to your business. I want to give you just a little heads up. Brandon Dawson is in rare form tonight. You are getting a very special treat. He is pumped up and ready to spill knowledge. So if you don't have that pad of paper, if you don't have the iPad with the Notes app, if you don't have something to take notes with tonight, I'm going to go ahead and recommend right now that you grab something and get ready to take those notes. I see that everybody's got their notes. Show me your notes if you've got them. Show me that pad of paper. Mo every week does a great job. He actually Instagrams me his notes at the end of every Owner's Live. Who else has their notes there? C-Rock's got his notes. All right. You guys look like you're ready for an Owner's Live. Really quickly, let's talk about, we made this correlation with NASA and the Mentor Vault with Brandon Dawson and Story Musgrave to the recent Falcon launch. So let's really quickly in the pre-show, there's some more clips from Elon Musk. I want to talk about just when you've hit success. We talked about thinking big, going big, being obsessed. And that's why we created this partnership while Brandon Dawson created the partnership with Grant, is because Grant always pushes you to go further and further and further. And so many people have celebrated the launch of Falcon and SpaceX and NASA. But Elon says the mission's not over.
So we still got to dock with the space station. We still got to return. I think there's an argument that the return is more dangerous in some ways than the ascent. So we don't want to declare victory yet. We need to bring him home safely. Make sure that we're doing everything we can to minimize that risk of re-entry and return.
It's so interesting to hear him say that the mission's not over. So many people celebrating the fact that it made it to space, but it's not over until it gets back down. How are you creating those milestones for your business? And just when you think you've won, you haven't gone far enough. The mission isn't over. I love that for tonight. Elon also said that it wasn't so easy. So many people have looked at the success that Tesla has had, SpaceX and private space travel, and Elon's net worth, and they go, man, so simple, so easy. Elon says that's not the case.
Because he was taking the money that I earned from PayPal and rolling it into to create SpaceX and Tesla, and I ended up spending it all. It wasn't the intention, but almost both companies went bankrupt. Frankly, 2008 was a tough year. It took us 4 attempts just to get to orbit with Falcon 1.
4 attempts. He took funding from his PayPal success, and he's tried and tried and tried, and he's built this effective machine that can take 2 human beings to outer space and back. Just so many great business correlations that we're going to pick up tonight. I'm just getting us a little warmed up and ready to go. Really quickly in the comments, I want to say hi to each and every one of you. Let me know what you're looking forward to tonight. What are you hoping to gain in tonight's 10X Owners Live? I want to remind you that this is a live program. We're on Zoom. We can see you. I think we had a couple of new visitors last week, and they were like, whoa, did I just get dropped into a classroom? I'm not quite sure. Is this a show or is this a Zoom call? This is both. We create a lot of value here with education and entertainment, but we also interact and engage with you on our Zoom chat channel. So introduce yourself, say hello. Hey, John, how are you guys? Marco, good to see you again. Ryan, you've got the whole crew is here. The whole Cardone Ventures crew is here. The big announcement tonight, I'm just going to give you a little tease. This is what we call a little teaser in the business. It is happening. Events are back on for Cardone Ventures. If you didn't know that, this is your big breaking news. 10X 360 events are back on, and they are actually filling up very quickly. So if you've never been to a 10X 360 and you're a business owner looking to scale, we're going to have a special moment for you tonight where we're going to give you more information on how you can join one of our live 10X 360 events in person. But for now, let me give you the quick rules. So before we get started, this is a live interactive program, so we want to see your cameras on. So let me scroll through. I like doing this. Is one of my favorite parts. I'm going to scroll through and I'm going to call people. Dan Coates, put that camera on. Dr. Davis, come on, Dr. Davis. We didn't go to med school to not have our camera on, am I right? Let's be obsessed, Dr. Davis. We've got, let's see, Sean, get that camera. There we go. I see him coming on now. You guys get him on, get him on. Peggy, good to see you. Look at this. I love, and Brandon and I, this is why we choose Zoom so we can see you. We like this interaction. There's 500 other webinar platforms that we've looked at. None of them allow us to see you like this. We like to interact and see you guys and engage. Second rule, don't call your name iPhone. If I see any iPhones, we want to know who you are. Dean, Sean, Steven, Diana. Like there's now Monique, you're okay because you wrote Monique's iPhone, so at least we know you're Monique, but we would love to know your real name. So if your name is iPhone, change it. There's tiny little settings up at the top. You can change your name from iPhone to whatever your first and last or whatever your nickname is. We'd love to know you a little bit more. Feel free to comment, ask your questions. It's interactive. Brandon Dawson is going to be answering your questions. So feel free to start loading those questions up. The whole team is in the chat. So just because I'm not necessarily speaking directly to you, you've got Josh and Ashley and Enrique and Heather and Will and everybody's in there, and they're all looking at your questions and making sure they get to us at the right moment when we get into that Q&A. Have I missed any rules? Is that it? Is that good? No rules missed? Okay, without any further ado, let's start 10X Owners Live. Here we go.
Stand by, start live in 3, 2, 1. Stand by, camera, stand by.
The whole purpose of this show is to engage with business owners, be able to answer questions for people that will give them some insight and perspective. How to grow and scale a business, even when caught off guard with something like what we're dealing with right now.
Welcome to 10X Owners Live. Here's Brandon Dawson.
Discovery, roger, go for deploy.
Discovery Houston, 20 seconds to LOS TDRIS.
Hi, Brandon Dawson here. Welcome to 10X Owners Live. We're going to have a great show tonight. I feel like every show is a great show. Thank you, Buck, for warming us up. I'm just so excited to get to share some of my personal Mentor Vault videos. When I shot all my personal interviews with Story, it was literally for me to get context into how someone that's so brilliant and has done so many courageous things thinks, and how this ecosystem, the people around them that need to support them, think and operate. And so if you think about what's been happening over the last 90 days, we have spent every single day from morning to evening talking to business owners and high-producing individuals on how to not only make it through COVID-19 and all the disruption that's happening now with things beyond COVID-19, how do you prepare yourself mentally? How do you prepare your team? How do you get everybody ready to come back if you don't know exactly what you're coming back to? Who do you bring back? What do you have them do? How fast do they do it? All these questions that are just swirling around for so many individuals who are just trying to get back to normalcy. Well, tonight's show is going to be breaking open this Mentors Vault of mine, my personal library of time with one of the most absolute remarkable human beings I have ever had the pleasure to meet, Story Musgrave.
Not to mention, you've never played these videos anywhere else. You've never used them anywhere. Nobody's ever seen them before.
I have actually, wow, that's a close-up. I have, whoa, I just scared myself.
That's the nostril camera.
Wow. I have actually never shown these videos to anyone. I have personally sat and watched these videos for hours. Why? Because this is how I've learned. See, I'm not a great reader, but what I do read, I want to understand. And when I can go straight to the source and I can go deep into a specific concept, that's how I learn. Then I want to know, how can I apply that concept to the things that I'm doing? So, one of the things I think is really important, and I get asked by so many business owners, is the importance, the significance of how to execute when you're growing your business, scaling your business, or in this case, when you're just trying to restart your business. Let me explain something to you. A lot of questions. So those of you that are watching this tonight, I've been getting a lot of questions about how do we restart? How do we get our businesses going back? How do we get our teams prepared to come back? We went to a restaurant in Vancouver, Washington the other night. It was the first night open. We actually asked our server a question. And the server, God bless her soul, said, you know, to be honest with you, I was running late to work this morning, or this afternoon. I haven't been in for 90 days. I can't even remember what's on the menu.
I asked for rosé specifically.
And what Buck asked for was rosé.
And she didn't know if it was on the menu or not.
She didn't know if they had rosé. How do you prepare your team to keep them sharp? And I think leading this off, when I was talking to Story, and I said, Story, with the complexity of a mission, you got to get, and you heard Elon Musk talk, you know, a mission is not getting people up to space. A mission is fulfilling the purpose and then getting everyone back safe and sound, and then debriefing on what worked and what didn't work, and making sure that in the process, everyone was safe. Now, that's the standard. So what I want you to think about relative to your business is, could you imagine if instead of your job being a business owner was to create a business that could generate a profit, that you could pay team members to help you grow, and everyone got a check and you created some wealth and you were able to create whatever impact in your community, doing whatever you're passionate about doing. Imagine that's your mission. But let me ask you this. Let's apply a different sensitivity to it. Imagine it was your responsibility to make sure that in the process of doing that every single day, people didn't die. That's a whole different level of intentionality. What I want you to hear from Story Musgrave is how astronauts, NASA, the whole organization works together as a collective to ensure precision across the spectrum of all they do.
There comes a point at which you're happy with your plan, and then you go and execute the plan, and then you focus on the execution because you have faith in your plan, and you focus on at that point. It's the execution. So it's the Dorothy Hamlin, you know, that she played with all her routines. She played, and she knows what she's good at, what she's not good at. She what got a passion for, and you converge on a final solution. But when the music starts, you focus on the execution. So then it's execution to perfection.
Execution to perfection. You plan, you practice, you collaborate, you coordinate, you re-plan, you re-practice, you role play, you go through the motions as though it's happening in real time in order to execute one finite little technical movement that may or may not kill you.
So what you're saying is, if the restaurant had role-played what was on the menu, every waiter or waitress that came back would have probably known what was on, but they're not executing to perfection, is what you're thinking.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, imagine having a meeting with your team before the night that is your grand opening and reminding them how precious this moment is, how on point everybody needs to be. In fact, here are the wines we have. Here are the specials we're doing. We need to create an environment where every single patron that comes in feels, because they've been so excluded, we want them to feel like, wow, what an experience. We've missed this. We need to come back every single night. We need to come back and support the restaurant. We need to support the people. We need to tip well. We need to enjoy the food. Imagine if they choreographed every step of the way as a team to make sure that the single most important moment was the consumer experience, to make sure that When we left, they were like, all we want to do is go back. So you need to have that intentionality. You need to have the team understanding that executing to perfection, being ready for the game. If this is the first night I was opening as a restaurant, I would be sure that my team would be there. We'd go through the protocols and we would create intentionally the experience that we wanted to remind everybody in the community that we're capable of creating. Why? Because I want people like Buck and I and Natalie and Allie, when we go home, I want them to go tell everybody, guess what? We finally got to go back out again. Here's where we went. The experience was remarkable. If you cannot create that with 90 days of downtime, with the appreciation that you get to come back to work and you get to be open again, then how will you ever create that? Ever create that going forward?
Yeah, how do you do that though? Like when you talk about planning for something like that?
You know, this is what we teach every morning. This is what we do as a team meeting. This is what Cardone, this is the whole premise of everything we teach at Cardone Enterprises. This is training 101. Every single morning for 30 minutes. Practice Cardone U for 4, 5, 6 sessions. Role play those sessions amongst your team members. Could you imagine if they would have done that? And then shown up at work and said, let's role play. Let's role play what's on the menu. Let's role play the specials. Let's role play how we can greet people when they come in the door. So they're like, oh my gosh, we're so thrilled you're open again. Yes, we are. In fact, we're creating this new VIP system. Anybody that comes in the door that's our first in, if you're willing to write down your name and your cell number, you can text reservations to us and you're going to get VIP treatment because we know that you're a repeat customer. Like, do something to create value. And then when you greet them at the table, you're like, we're so excited that you've come back to join us. We're here to serve you and create an amazing experience for you. Now, I'm role-playing this with everybody, hundreds or thousands?
Hundreds. We're not quite 1,000, but
Next
hundreds.
year we'll be at thousands. I'm role-playing with you right now. I'm making this stuff up. How hard is it? Like, pay attention to the details. Choreograph your team. Make every team member feel like they're the most important thing at the moment, because I'll tell you what, literally, instead of the death of a human, if you do not get this straight right now, it will be death of a business. I promise you.
I want to make a quick point, because I know this sounds small that we're talking about a glass of rosé, right? It's like making such a big deal out of this. But Brandon, when he walks into any business, like within minutes is analyzing data points, ideas, thresholds, conversations, and he's coming up with his own evaluation of, he knows whether this business is effective or not effective. So I'm gonna guess, because you're the expert here, Brandon, that one little moment told you way more than the fact that she didn't know about the glass of rosé, right?
That one moment spoke to me on a couple different fronts. Now, obviously, I'm not going to beat this person up. She
Right.
probably was just like trying to get there and
that was
everything.
my point, right.
But the issue here is this. It's one thing to not know that the rosé's on the menu. It's another thing to tell your customer that I wasn't interested enough to get to work to understand what is on the menu because I'm so out of rhythm.
Right.
And, we're just back to work now. How does that represent? So this is a much bigger issue. This is the getting to space and getting home safe. As a business owner, how do you align your team members with the magnitude of mission, the purpose for what you do every day to ensure that when the moment's on that everyone needs to perform? You know, the story talked about that with who was that he was saying? I think
Story Musgrave?
Yeah, when he was mentioning the lady Hamilton, or
yeah.
I can't remember, but the point is, what he's saying is you do all this practicing so the moment you're on, you're ready.
Right.
Think of your business and how you need to be intentional about making sure that everyone is ready. That's the job of the leader. So when you ask me what I noticed in bigger context, I noticed that leadership in that particular business is lazy.
I was just going to say, if there's anything I've learned from Brandon, it wasn't her fault. It's leadership's fault. There's no doubt.
You prepare your people for success or you set them up for failure. You determine that as a business owner. The number one thing we talked about in the emergency business response is the reason businesses suffered is because they were ill prepared when things were going well. For the businesses who were on the details when things were going well, they were more prepared when things were not going well. Businesses encounter crisis and disaster all the time because they're ill prepared. The whole thesis for tonight's show is getting prepared to dominate.
So coming up with a plan and implementing that plan. Do we want to hear from Story on that?
Let's do it.
We got off the track. We did have a plan, and we got a very nice plan to start with, and all those details. And that same mission control team also built a plan. So it isn't just that they inherit the mission after you launch and get going. They also built a plan. That is an incredible functional organization in terms of getting some project done.
Think about it. See, if your employees come to work, using this analogy of the restaurant experience, if your employees come to work and they're waiting, they see their name on the board and say, you have section 32, and that's the level of engagement, well, you could probably expect to have a poor engagement or a poor experience. Imagine if you brought your whole team in a half hour before the restaurant opened and said, what can we do as a team tonight? If there's 3 things that have to happen tonight, 3 things only, what 3 things must we master to create an experience where everyone that comes through tonight will not only want to come through again, but they're going to want to bring as many friends as possible and go out and reverberate their remarkable experience within the community. What are 3 things each of us could do that we could support each other? Because what you heard him say is it's not Mission Control's job once the rocket was launched. They were responsible for building the plan alongside all aspects of the teams, because they have to understand in context not only getting somebody up, but getting them back safely. Then they have to understand what's happening while they're in space and the mission's going on. Story told me he's not up there spacewalking, just arbitrarily deciding, hey, I think I'm gonna go out for a good look today and see what's going on. He's on point with a specific purpose, and he waits for command and control to direct him. And one of the most significant things that he had to train himself to be able to do was to not take over, but yet allow the team to guide and advise so that the execution was flawless.
You know, I was going to ask you, Brandon, about, I would imagine, and let me ask now, how many of you this evening, how many of you have a plan for your business? In the comments, say yes. If you have a plan, you have an action plan for your business, and it's detailed and your employees know about it. There's so many different levels of plans. There's big plans, there's daily plans, weekly plans. And then I see that even Story talks about minute-to-minute plans. Should we hear from him on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you read an accident report now, they not only talk about, they don't just say, well, he screwed up or something. No, that's not what they do. He did screw up, but that's not the cause. Why? You know, what subtleties led to all of that? But if you look at how they go into an airplane accident and you look at their nuance, at all the tiny details, now, sir, you learn how to do details. So, and it's just, that's the airplane world, or that's their world, it's transportation world. It's a boat, it's a train, it's an airplane. But you look at how, post-mortem wise, after, they look at all the details, and then you learn how to do details. So you can learn about an accident report, an NTSB, and now you take that into your business world or your athletic world.
Think about what he was telling me. The post-mortem. When things don't work, when you have failures, or even when you're not executing at the highest level of success, what is the process for retooling with the team? The post-mortem report. You have to understand what went wrong. So if I was running this restaurant and I heard that this was the engagement, and I would know this was the engagement because the number one job of leadership should have been to go out and see and hear what's going on the floor so that you can adjust for the post-mortem report. But I would sit down with the team and say, how do we not know what's on the menu? How do we not know what we have at the bar? Is that the job of every employee to understand the plethora of information? Or is it the responsibility of leadership to pinpoint what exactly we do and don't have so people are armed with information and feel empowered? Or how do you communicate that better on the piece of paper that somebody like a Buck's reading to say, oh, this is here. It's been pointed out for me. So the details, the minute details, and we've been talking about this for 90 days, going back, and the whole point in the Emergency Business Response book is to talk about the fact that if you were paying attention to those granular details and use this moment, if things are not working, use this moment to go backwards in time and ask yourself with humility the question, what decisions was I making in my past self that led me to the problems I'm dealing with my current self, and how might I make those decisions different today so my future self and all the people that I'm leading to go along the journey can all grow and scale personally, professionally, and financially together as a team.
We're here to learn. We're here as a group of business owners that are like-minded. We share that obsession of 10xing our life and our goals. So let's do a quick favor. There's no judgment in the chat. I want to be completely honest right now. How many of you had a plan, and right now, as we speak, it's not going according to the way that you said it? I want to see in the chat really quickly, just be honest, type no. If you had a plan and it's not going according to the way that you imagined. It's a lot. This is a lot, Brandon. I can't even keep up. There's so many. Shayna, Yanel, Christian, Ginger, Peggy, Dennis, Debbie. Things have changed. Patrick, I mean, this is a lot. So Story talks about how to deal with things.
Yeah, before we do that though, let's talk about this. So this is the post-mortem. You know what I love about this 10X Live? We do this for you. We're on calls and video chats with thousands of business owners. You're not unique, you're not unusual, you're not any less better than anybody else, you're not doing things incorrectly. This is just the natural progression of learning. So the encouragement I would give you tonight is there is a different way to do it. And if you do the post-mortem on what has not worked, and you identify those elements, and if you've been listening to us and you've read the book, here's the hard question you have to ask yourself tonight. Do I have confidence? Do I have confidence that if I rely on the guidance and wisdom of what I'm learning from the Cardone ecosystem, myself and Grant and Buck and the whole team, Jared, Natalie, all of us, do I have confidence that they can help me fortify a strategy, position myself for better growth in the future, and allow me and help me make sure that I'm not in the future repeating the things I don't want to have to encounter or deal with today? If your confidence, based on everything you've heard and you've read from us, I'm curious, do you have the confidence that we can help you fortify your business or your personal, professional, financial earnings skill set today and help you position yourself in the future? If you believe that we can do that based on all the stuff you've seen and heard, I'd like to have you say yes in the chat.
Lots of yeses. So many yeses. John, Patrick, Blaine, Larry, Abby, Joseph, Chris. It's a
I
lot.
appreciate that, and here's why I'm telling you this, because we are getting ready to move to the next evolution of how we can support and help you. See, here's the deal. For the last 90 days, we have created programs for everyone to get in the system. The 10X Scale program, many of you have come through that system and are talking every single week to us. Some of you were 360 participants who came back around and started participating every single week, but here's the commitment we made to you. Any money you spend with us, you can roll that up to the next level. So if you've spent $9.99 to go to be part of our group, if you spent $49.95 to be part of the Scale Up program, you can roll any of those amounts into the 10X 360, and we've put 6 schedules together for 10X 360 programs, and we've got the boot camp programs. Now, the boot camps I heard are sold out for July.
That's right.
So August, September, and October, Grant's putting them on the schedule now. Plug yourself in. If there was ever an opportunity for you to assess, is now the time to make a bold move? Anybody who said yes, if you haven't made that bold move, We're going to talk to you tonight about how to make that bold move.
Should we mention really quickly what a 10X 360 is? There's a lot of people that were not 90 days ago that weren't in our network and didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so why don't you pull up really quickly, this is what a 10X 360 is. It is a live, in-person, yes, I said in-person, interaction with Brandon Dawson and the entire executive team. You are going to go through, the reason we call it 360 quite simply is you have a 360 perspective of your business. We break down all these pieces of your business from marketing to operations to people, HR, finance. And it's a 2-day, this is not a come socially mingle with us. This is a 2-day immersion into your business with Brandon Dawson and the rest of the crew. And it is $29,995. Now, what Brandon's explaining to you is if you've done a 10X scale program, the money you've paid in that 10X scale program, you can apply towards coming to one of our 2-day events. We've got Adventura, we've got Scottsdale, we've got Portland, many different regions for you to come participate in this live event. That's what Brandon's talking about when he says, are you ready to make the commitment? Are you ready to make the next move in your business? Come to a 2-day 10X 360. And what do they walk away with, Brandon, after 2 days of nonstop immersion into their business with us and role playing?
You know, I think let's listen to Story Musgrave on this last comment. And let's let Story explain what they might be learning when they're there.
Perfect.
We have got to accept things when they don't go right. We just call it what it is. It didn't go right. But it's understanding it, you know, through those kind of things that you get better. It's a positive thing. Hey, we learned something and we go forward. So, but you can't beat mission control down. They can mess up. Okay, here we go. So, you know, when going get stuff, tough get going. That's the kind of organization we are.
You have to be honest with yourself. You have to rely on mission control. You have to be tough when the tough gets going. The 10X 360 program is your mission control. We break down all elements, all aspects of your business. We have a very specific process. We've run hundreds of businesses through this with Cardone, and I have in my previous businesses. We help you identify every major gap you have in your strategy, your financial process, your execution with marketing and sales, with your people alignment. We help you identify those gaps. See, you hear me talk about the 2 things that you need as a business owner whenever you're making a decision: contrast and context. What we do over 2 days through a very methodical program is break down so you understand context and you understand the choices you can make to contrast what you're dealing with. Then we give you the top 3 to 5 things that you can do, that you can immediately go home and deploy within your businesses, or as a top earner, like how to multiply yourself, how to amplify your results, how to identify your results. All the elements that you need so that you can have context and contrast. And then we guide you with the decision making before you leave of what you need to do from a prioritization standpoint to go home and execute at a higher level of success. My whole team is there helping break this down and rebuilding it. So by the end of the 2nd day, you're empowered, you're inspired, and you have the data and the information to execute, to go home and grow your business.
How quickly, once they go home after this 2-day event, now I know this, but I'm curious from your standpoint, Brandon, does it impact their business? How quickly does what they learn in 2 days with all of us impact their business?
We have so many testimonials from business owners who quite honestly, they have said it changes their life. Because think of it this way. When you get in your car and you're driving down the highway and all of a sudden your steering wheel's going like this and it's wobbling and your car's wobbling everywhere, it's very uncomfortable. And it creates a lot of thoughts in your mind about what's going on. Are my wheels breaking off? Do I have a flat tire? All these insecurities and fears. Now, when you drive your car over to a Les Schwab or someone and they align it, and all of a sudden you get back in it and it's straight and steady, all those thoughts go away. Now you're just going from destination to destination, which quite honestly you take for granted when you don't encounter issues or problems. What we do is we take the alignment and put it back in your decision and execution making. Sometimes it's nuances. It's just a slight adjustment. But that slight adjustment or massive overhaul allows you to double or triple what you're doing. And that has been why so many businesses have come through in the last 12 months, the 10X 360 program, and it's exactly what you should expect for you. And for those that want to recalibrate where they're at right now and prepare themselves for massive growth, the 10X 360 program is the vehicle for you.
I'd like to just really quickly give 60 seconds for a quick blip for any of you that have no context to 360, 10X 360 at all. Just listen to, you're going to get a view here of what a 10X 360 is and listen to what clients say about it.
The goal here is by the time we leave here, you have your picture.
Everything is so inspirational and motivational. Seriously, absolutely the best investment that you can make in yourself and for your people.
For 10 years, I could not go beyond like 5 people, doing a couple of million a year. Now, as I said, I can have the roadmap to thinking even I can go public now. I can build a $1 billion business.
So what you think is what you say is what you do becomes your legacy. So this is the process of attaining or accomplishing whatever that big picture is.
Who are you and what do you stand for? So the way we do that is through a brand house. Me. That's all. That's my goal.
Help me help you, right? That's how this all works. How do I tailor my communication to somebody else?
There's a lot of things I've learned today that I can apply to my business. If you're serious about scaling your business and growing your business, you need to attend this event.
In order for you guys to have the growth that you really want, you have to be so excited and passionate about your goals, and your teams have to feel that too. If you don't know how to achieve your goals, you are never going to be able to inspire your team and show them how they can achieve their goals through working with you.
Millions. It saved the company millions by putting that one measurement. So message, find that one measurement, and they're out there.
You got to keep the passion in the deal. You got to keep making it bigger and juicier. And so when I get up in the morning, it's just like, hey, what can I do to stay excited about my work?
The main thing is getting in the right environments with people. You all are trying to go into the same direction. And this is an event you do not want to miss.
I want to mention there's a few dates, and I want to see from each one of you who've never experienced a 10X 360 which city or dates you'd like to choose from. But we've got Adventura, July 30th, 31st, and then again in September, the 19th and 20th. Then we've got Scottsdale on July 10th and 11th, and then August 21st and 22nd. Now this is my favorite, and not just because this is home base, but August 7th and 8th, we do a 10X 360 two-day event in Portland, Oregon, and here in Washington, where Brandon's home is, where we're doing 10X Owners Live. He hosts a private dinner at his home. Added bonus if you come to the Pacific Northwest. So for those of you that are choosing dates, know that at Portland, you come to Brandon's house and you get a private dinner if you're part of that 10X 360 here in Portland. So let's quickly, I want to take questions. First of all, list in the chat which date and which city you'd choose for 10X 360. And then let's take questions. Start loading up your questions. I know we wanted to bring up, is it Holly? Let's bring up Holly really quickly, who's actually been to a 10X 360. Hey, Holly, which city did you attend the 10X 360? That was in, you guys were in Dallas, I believe, correct? There you go. Chris, I see you, Chris. Hey, buddy, were you, which 360 did you attend? Was it Dallas?
We were in Adventura.
Oh, Adventura, that's right. Okay, Adventura. Tell us a little bit about the experience.
It truly was a business life-changing event. Truly helped us in learning how to better communicate with their staff, to get on board with their PPFs, and it really made it got us on board with our staff, really thinking about our people.
Yeah, and so how quickly were you able to create an impact on your business after attending one of these two-day immersions with our 10X 360?
Immediately, we implemented what we learned and what was being role played specifically with the PPFs within the first week of being back.
Wow.
And we saw significant improvement in our team.
That's so huge. Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
How much, I'm curious, how much do you believe that, because you went to that right before COVID, so I think it was like a month or month and a half before COVID. How much do you think that experience actually prepared you to not only make it through COVID, but actually excel through COVID?
We were already putting into place the principles that you had given us, and to make that decision, quicker, making just making a faster decision, making the hard decisions fast, and excelling through it. Where people were scared and shutting down, we were already ready to push forward and to increase.
That's awesome. I'm just so proud of you guys, because even when they told you needed to shut down, you argued that you're an essential business. You won the argument, and your revenues have been growing instead of having somebody else control your destiny. And I know when you came into that 360, your guys' confidence was wavering a bit. You refocused, you recentered, you rallied the family, the kids around it. You went home with determination, and here we are on the other side of something that none of us predicted 4 or 5 months ago. And your guys' business is stronger today than it was before coming to the 10X 360. And we just love having you be part of the Cardone family.
I'd like to ask if, for those of you that are coming to the next 10X 360, whether it be Adventura right there at Cardone Enterprise headquarters, or you're coming to Portland, what is it in those quadrants of your business where you feel you need the most focus? Because if I see a ton of marketing on here, I could give a high level explanation of what we do for marketing. Financial or operations or HR, people, hiring, recruiting. What is it that you need focus on your business? And we'd be happy to answer a little more questions on what a 10X 360 can do for those quadrants in your business. Also, if you're struggling right now, the reason you come to 10X Owners Live is support from Brandon and the rest of the team. So if there's something specific you want to ask, now is your chance. The question gates are open, and we're going to start taking your questions now.
You know, Buck, what I'm excited about is we have over 75 businesses that are already registered for the 10X 360s over the next 90, 120 days, because we had about half of those businesses coming to 2 10X 360s that we had to cancel.
Right.
In addition to that, we have another 60 or 70 businesses that are going through the Scale program right now. So for those of you that are like, I'm not sure that I'm prepared for the 10X 360 yet, but I would want to best position my business for growing and scale, I'd like to extend to them the same offer the rest of everyone we offered, which is if you choose to go forward with the 10X Scale program, there's really 3 things we're talking about tonight. One is the 10X Scale program. It's
right.
the $4,995 program. Good news is you choose to do that program, that money can get rolled into a 10X 360 when you're ready to elevate to the next level. In addition to that, what we offered at GrowthCon was the 10X Scale program for $9,900, which included a boot camp ticket. Now, it can't be in July, it'd have to be in August or September, but it was an experience where you go through the 10X Scale program and you get all the benefits of the online program and the engagement with the team, but then also you get to come to boot camp, you get a VIP experience at boot camp, then you have a 10X Scale day, which is a 1-day event, that's $10,000. Here's my commitment. If you want to do the 5,000, you want to do the 10,000, whatever you do, we will roll it into the 29,000 because we want a relationship with business owners who want to grow and excel. And the more we have an army of those business owners with us, the better we're all going to go out and conquer and be an example to everyone else going forward. And remember, while you're watching this show right now, contemplating these decisions, most likely your competition's dreading having to go back to work. Thinking about, should we call our employees? What should we tell them? You get to be on point, prepared for battle, ready to go with your team completely aligned with the mission, which is what Story talked about.
I want to bring the slide up one more time really quickly so you can get a view of this. Now, Brandon, if this is, $29,995, do they need to have the liquid available today to put that money down immediately?
No, here's the deal. This is about building relationship and building into, leveraging into success. So if you sign up for a July or an August or a September, then we'll break the payments from whatever date you pick from now, and we'll break it into 2 payments or 3 payments. What's most important is that we give you the tools and the resources necessary to position yourself to accelerate and grow, just like Story talked about how NASA operates.
That's right. And the number to make that commitment right now is 503-536-0997. If you're ready to make that commitment, you can actually create the relationship right now to grow and scale your business. 503-536-0997. Write the number down. If you're contemplating right now, this is a decision I should make, you need to write this number down. One more time, it's right here at the bottom, 503-536-0997. Let's go to some questions. Let's pull up Chris. I see a line of questions. Feel free to keep the questions coming. We'll make sure the team collects them, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. Hey, Chris, how are you? Welcome to 10X Owners Live, buddy.
Doing great. Can you hear me okay?
We got you. What's your question for Brandon?
So my question, Brandon, I'm a network marketer, so I don't have any employees, but I do have a couple hundred distributors around the country. I've been to your event in Las Vegas, 10X GrowthCon, which is very worthwhile. But what you guys are talking about here seems to be next level. How can you help a guy like me with no employees scale my business?
Yeah, great question. Hey, I appreciate that. Network marketer. Oh, listen. The old adage, you're not a recruit till you've recruited a recruit. So the whole point in network marketing is finding people that are inspired by what you can help them go out and do in order to create a business or an income that's in addition or more significant than what they have. So the principles of how to communicate with people, how to demonstrate to them, because look, network marketers aren't actually very good if they can't teach people to take the principles that they're using and use those principles to create the personal, professional, financial life that they want to create. So helping people identify what do you not have in your life, what would you like to have in your life, and what is the resource you have today to go get that. If you have a way to solve the problem of bridging the gap between what they want to accomplish in life and finding resources and being developed and getting the education and having a product or a service that they can learn to incorporate into their community, whatever it might be. If you have the problem solver to help them attain their goals, then they need the technical aspect. Most of these people that you would recruit in to show them how to grow and scale personally, professionally, and financially on an individual basis by participating with you, those technical aspects of how to do that, how to develop themselves, their verbal skills, how to articulate whatever the message is that you're going to be teaching them, how to engage with people, and then how to recruit, train, and onboard people to find that same level of success. If that isn't scaling, I don't know what is, because here's the secret. When I had my first business and I struggled, big ego, buying hundreds of businesses, public company CEO, and that business, my shareholder said, we're selling that, and I had to start over. If you've downloaded my book, The Emergency Business Response, the individual who is my best friend, his name is Hector Lamar. His business is Primerica Financial Services. So I think I understand the job of going out and finding people and developing them and teaching them the skill sets to significantly improve their life. And I worked under Hector for 2 years going out and showing people our products, recruiting them into the business and teaching them the skill sets to evolve and develop and sell and produce, because that's what Hector has spent his career doing. That's why he has 10,000 people and more million-dollar earners than anybody else in the system. So I hope I answered your question, but by developing people, it allows people to develop the business concept.
100%. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Chris, where are you located? Are you in Las Vegas?
I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yes, sir.
Oh, we chatted earlier today. Are you the one that I called and we talked? And you said you were going to bring your friends in. Did you get your friends to come to Owners Live tonight?
I do. I have Luann Terrell on here and Steve Barcel out of Las Vegas.
Yeah,
nice.
Love
What kind of network marketing are you doing?
So we are, we're what we call the Smart Money Club. A little bit of travel mixed in with wellness and some great services as well.
Yeah, sounds exciting. Sounds exciting.
Awesome. Glad you guys could be here tonight. You're welcome every single Tuesday. Look at that. That one was free, Chris. We're going to charge you for the next one.
Yeah.
Let's get Erica on. Erica. Or no, sorry, we were going to go to David and then Erica. I'm sorry, my whole team's frazzled when I do that. Let's go to David. David, you got a question for Brandon Dawson tonight on 10X Owners Live? Oh, accept it, David. Accept the unmute. There you are.
Am I there?
Hey, there you are. How are
Perfect.
you, buddy?
Good.
I like that wallpaper.
Thank you. So I have an issue where sometimes I overanalyze trying to perfect all my systems, and I get bogged down in the entire business being about perfecting the system and not doing business.
That is a common issue. Think about the math. What do you do for a living?
Roofing.
So think about the math. Michael Gerber got it right 40 years ago with eMyth. 70% of businesses are started by a technician or somebody who is good at something that goes out and monetizes their skill set. Not from a business owner that wants to go build this big business. So what happens is the thing that makes you great is also the thing that's your greatest liability. Because you're out trying to do things that you know have a technical inclination that you have to do it right, you have to do it flawless, you have to do it perfect, whatever your hands are doing or whatever your brain is creating, you naturally transcend that over all aspects of your business. The issue is you don't know how to do all the other things. So what happens is finding people, developing people, putting process in place, putting systems in place, knowing how to do all aspects of marketing, knowing how to do all aspects of everything paralyzes your thinking, and then you go back to relying on the thing that you do well. So you just shove that with pure energy, and then you create a business and you assimilate and accumulate people around you that you say, do this and do this and do this and do this. The thing that you don't know, though, is what Story talks about with NASA. You need to rely on a team of experts that understand all elements of business, because then when you get the input, you get context and you get contrast. So if you say, hey, I want the team to do this, and you're sending the team in the wrong direction and it doesn't work, you lower your belief, which lowers your confidence about recommending what they should do next. So as you go out to try to build, you're actually lowering your own confidence about what you can do, what you should do, what you might do, what you wish you'd do, because the negative experiences, people are more motivated, more inspired by fear than they are of creating opportunity, the inspiration of opportunity. So when you go out and try and you get beat back for making mistakes, if you don't have a debriefing process with a group of people that you can communicate and you can talk to and you can work with, and then it's so easy to stop making good decisions out of fear, paralysis analysis, that if you make another choice that turns out to be a poor choice, you will inherently lower your confidence more. Now, you don't say that to yourself. You say things are good and we're doing okay, and you start looking for justification and rationalization. So what you're dealing with, I'm going to tell you right now, is 100%. 100%. This is the beauty of context and contrast. 100% what everyone just like you deals with. Learning to identify that. Learning how to, and it was Meg Whitman from eBay when she looked me square in the eye and said, perfection, Brandon, is by itself the enemy of good enough, because it's in the deployment. It's in the deployment of the good enough that you evolve through the repetition of doing something, that you build awareness. If you understand the process and the strategic way to do that, that then builds capacity. When you build awareness through the constant doing over and over and over. Now, look, if I got $1 for every time someone said, I don't like to do role play in the morning. Look, if you go to work for Cardone Ventures or Cardone Enterprises, and you're an accountant, you're in marketing, you're in sales, you're an administrative person, you are going to do your training every single morning, because training isn't for salespeople. Training is for personal, professional, and financial development, increasing people's competency, increasing people's capacity, and increasing people's performance so that the business can thrive while the people thrive and grow. And when people embrace their fears and they overcome them despite how much they try to push back against them, they become a new human being who then believes they can do even more. So what you're saying as a roofer is what the dentist says, is what the doctor says, is what the chiropractor says. It's what the technician that builds the computer systems, they all say the same thing. What you have to realize is that's okay. But acceptance now needs to move to strategy. And you need to learn to do that. So let me ask you, where's your roofing? What country, what state is your roofing business in?
South Florida.
South Florida. So are you doing new construction, commercial buildings? What kind of
residential?
What's that?
Retail residential.
Okay, retail residential. So when you think about retail residential and you think about the market and you think about being an expert in one thing versus what happens if all of a sudden housing slows down, what do you do then?
We're in the market that we're in, it doesn't really happen, especially in the summertime.
Because you're in Florida, baby.
Yeah, there's a lot of rain here.
Florida. And then when the hurricanes and the tornadoes come through, you go back and fix everything.
Exactly. Thermal shock here is more prevalent here than anywhere else because the roof will be like 130, 140 degrees. Then it'll rain in the summertime in the afternoon in the peak of the heat, and it'll drop to 70 degrees. So that's what creates all the issues in South Florida.
So, I love businesses. By the way, if you ask me what kind of businesses I love a business where there's recurring revenue because of wear and tear and service. And roofing is a great business. But there's so much capacity in roofing. One of my dear friends 2 years ago had a roofing business. He took it over from his dad's. It was doing $3 million. We worked together on a strategy. He executed, grew it to 18 million, exited it for tens of millions. I think the point here is when you take the thing that you're really super good at and you combine it with something that other people are unbelievably good at and you put it together, then it all just gets so much better and tastes so much sweeter. And that's what we like to bring to people that we're working with.
Hey, David, let me ask you, if you received about 8 minutes of Brandon Dawson, do you think 2 days would benefit you and your business?
Of course.
Okay, I've got Josh Dawson who's DMing you his number right now. Adventure, how far away are you from Cardone Enterprise?
About 15 minutes away, 20 minutes away.
Oh, man. Okay, yeah, all right. We're going to see you at the Adventure at 10X360, and you are going to get Brandon Dawson.
Are we already platforming his business?
Is he in? David?
No, well, I'm in
Scale.
I'm in the round table. I'm in this, and I'm putting towards the 360.
Yeah, perfect. So, you know what? That's
360.
I appreciate you said that because that's, when this is, look, guys, I can't stress enough the importance of having the right mentors. When I didn't have any other programs but 360, and then people would platform with us, and we did, it's like, because I'm an operator. It took Grant Cardone to say, you need to create some other programs. You need to create more accessibility so people can experience you and get to know you. You need to do more than just focus on one segment. And I'm like, yeah, but Grant, people, and he's like, no, there's no yeah buts, just do more. And then whatever they pay for that, let them roll it into the big experience so you can build relationships and build rapport and help people today at a level where they can accept that help. I would have never thought of these things. And the reason I bring this up is that takes humility for a guy who's, I got a big net worth. I've done a lot of things in my life, but to be able to be humble enough to admit that maybe I didn't have the right, perfect, flawless way to grow and scale our own business. And I'm learning from someone who's a worldwide master at this. The reason that I can then sit and look you in the eye and say, we can extend that to you through everything we do is because I'm willing to accept it for myself. People who won't accept it for themselves can't then contribute it to others.
So true. Great point. Thank you, David, for being here. Erica.
Thank you, guys.
How are you, Erica? Tell us a little bit about what Cardone Ventures has done for you and what programs you've gone through with us.
Thanks, guys. First of all, Brandon, your answer to David's question was phenomenal. I'm in the Scale Up program, and I am also going to be going to one of the grants boot camps, and then what y'all are doing the day after. I get mixed up with all the different programs.
Scale Up Day. This sounds like you're going to Scale Up Day. Yeah.
Yeah. So super excited about that. I actually wanted to just share with everyone, because when I was listening to the beginning of the conversation, something happened this weekend that it ties in exactly to what Brandon was talking about, with how the astronauts have to go through and prepare and plan. There was a wildfire on our family's ranch, and it came within about 150 feet of the house. And you had all these different organizations, different firefighters, neighbors. We had the bombers going over us, and everybody was working together seamlessly. And they were able to put the fire out very quickly. They were able to draw the fire lines. It was so intense, but because they had practiced, because they were planning for it, because they had some sort of head communications that got everybody into the right places and got the word out, it was a success. And I'm from Colorado originally. This happened in Northern California. If you guys are from Northern California, what you saw on the weekend news was the ranch. I'm from Colorado, and I've seen fires go really badly. And so I think if you can take that experience, whether it be from the astronauts or from the fire that happened, and then apply it to us and what we're working on, then it gives us an expanded viewpoint of how much we can do, how much we can go through and really make things as seamless as they could be. So it was a humbling experience to see everybody doing it right there in front of me for us. So I just wanted to share that, because I felt like it tied in.
I appreciate that perspective. That reminds me, and since you've been through the programs, you've been listening, I've been talking about dancing. I always talk about Dancing with the Stars. And when they have the first show, you don't have to watch anything. You can be completely oblivious, and you can just watch it, and you know who the amateur is and who the expert is. Like, it doesn't take any awareness, any consciousness. I want you to think about what I'm saying here, because this is really important. I need you to ask yourself, if my customers or my employees were watching the first show versus the last show, those that have ascended and elevated and executed to get to the last show, if that's the only thing you saw, you would have to ask, who's the expert and who's the star? Now, we've done this exercise at all the 10X 360s. We force people into identifying how many people were involved with those people that ascended through success. How many people were involved with choreographing? You had stretch routines, you have strength coaches, you have head case coaches, people that psychology, you have dance coaches for different routines, you have stylists, you have hair, you have makeup, you have clothing, you have all these different elements, you have a dietitian, food stuff. It's like 14 different people that were involved from the first show, the disaster, to the last show, the master. Now, here's the question I ask each and every one of you, because what she just described is through drill, practice, and rehearse, through choreographing what happens, what if, by whom, when, with what resources. When you think about that and the ability when it's an instant on to execute, when life matters. Now, the problem, what I love about Grant Cardone is what he talks about. The problem is because so many of you accepted where your business is, you're not thinking big enough. You don't put enough priority around the importance or the significance of everyone being on the same page and choreographing every single technical move. So every execution point drives to the highest value of success. Now you might think, gosh, I don't know how to do that, but that's what the 10X 360 is. It's all those experts working with you to understand context, what you don't know, and contrast what you should know and what impact that could create for you. And what I'm offering to you is, if you've not had that person in your life, and we've got hundreds of businesses through the system, let us be that person for you so you can make it to the last show. Because here's the ultimate question. If you're being completely honest with yourself, if you're a contributor to somebody else's business, or if you're the business owner, when people experience you, like the restaurant story that we talked about that Buck and I went to with our wives. When people experience your business, when people experience your team, are they experiencing the first show where they know who the amateur is? Or are they experiencing the last show who they think everyone's an expert? Only you can answer that. Let me ask you this. If you believe with your heart, being completely honest with yourself, say yes in the chat if you believe the experience would be at the highest expert level, or say no if you believe it may look like the first show. I'm curious what the chat says.
That's always the hardest part. Mark says no. James says yes. Abby says yes. Blaine says somewhere in the middle. Do you accept that?
I love someone who's honest, because anybody that says yes is lying. Look, I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you.
Alberto's lying. Come on, Alberto.
I can't say yes to that.
He never does. Where do you rank yourself?
If on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say 5.5 to 6. And why? Because I have enough experience with productive paranoia to know somebody's screwing something up somewhere, and we just haven't figured out what it is yet.
Brandon sold his company for 77 times EBITDA, $151 million. He ranks a 5 point something. If you're over here saying yes, that's the first lesson for sure. I love it. Let's put the slide up one more time. I want anyone who's willing to make the commitment to their self to say yes in the chat if you are coming to a 10X 360. Say yes right now that you are going to be at that Adventura. Jason, Blaine, James, yes. You're going to be in Scottsdale with us. Elliot says yes. You're going to be in Portland. Yes, Stacy, we heard you're going to be in Portland. That's exciting. Tim David says he's coming to Portland. You know why? They want to have that private dinner at your house.
It's going to be remarkable, I promise.
Yeah, guys, if you can, get to Portland. BK says, will we start a 10X 360 in Maui? I'd say yes. I'd like that. Come on, guys. I love it. Anyway, the number, one more time, 503-536-0997. We got time for one more question really quickly. Let's go to Brandon. Brandon, you're on with Brandon. Brandon with an E, you're on with Brandon. How are you, buddy?
Good, you?
Awesome. What's your question?
So yeah, I own a forestry company. We're on target to do about $5 million in revenue this year. My brother's looking at buying my uncle's insurance company. I was doing some research on the markets and quick numbers. My industry exports roughly 25 billion a year out of Canada, and insurance closes about 62 billion of revenue per year. Just wondering if I should be considering going into his business with him to some level. Should I be sticking 100% to my business? I want to grow a company that does 100 million plus a year, and I'm just wondering if it's capable in my space and what your advice is on that.
So Brandon, I appreciate the question. So here's the thing. There's a lot, when you say insurance space, we're talking about, lots of different choices in insurance space, because there's lots of different people that do different things in insurance. To be completely fair to you, my guess is you're busy running your business and you're hoping if you partner and invest with your brother that he'll grow and scale that business while you're running and growing and scaling your business. Is that true?
Yeah.
So would you go run the business with your brother,
yes,
or would you stay doing what you're doing?
I would like to continue my business unless I found that the opportunity there made it made it make sense, I guess.
Sure. So, so let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. If you called your brother today and said, I want to swap places with you, you come up and run my business and do what I do, and I'm going to go run your business on a scale 1 to 10, 10 being without missing a beat, 1 being not at all, how much would your brother be able to run your business?
Probably like a 2.
Okay, so now I'm going to reverse it. If your brother said, let's do it, and you went and took over your brother's business on a scale 1 to 10, how effective would you be on running his business?
I would say a 7.
So do you know the insurance space?
my mom was in it her whole life, so I kind of grew up with it, but I also did with the forest industry. My dad owned the forestry company I bought. So I kind of know both to some level.
Okay, so this is a good question. So this tells me now, and I didn't have to ask you a lot of questions. I just needed to understand context and contrast, right? So now here's the question. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all, 10 being 100% confident. So there's your confidence meter. How would you rank your brother in his ability to go build a $100 million business? And is your brother watching?
There's some hesitation there, maybe.
I don't know. I would say like a 0.5.
A 0.5. Yeah. So I think you're setting yourself up for struggle in the family, because you're going to put money into something. You're already committed full time. I would say if your brother really believed that he can go build an insurance company, he should be able to get it to at least like $1 million or $2 million. Is he already in business?
He's looking at buying my uncle's company, and it does about $3 million per year.
What country or what state?
And I think Alberta, Canada.
Property casualty or life or what?
It's automotive and house insurance and farmers and companies, things like that.
Got it. So I'm going to be fair with you. I think it takes a little bit more conversation, but I think it would be worth, if you really want to know the answer to that, you and your brother come out to a 10X 360 and let's see how well the program has been thought out. Maybe the best money the both of you have ever spent for both your businesses.
Yeah, I bought the 360. I was planning to take my wife. I'll talk to him about it.
Can't we add a seat?
And I want to go to the Portland one.
I'll let you, hey, talk to Josh. I'll add a seat. We'll add a seat. If you want to bring your brother, we'll add a seat for a nominal fee so you can bring all three, because I think your wife should be there.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Awesome. Brandon, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. Hey, we love Brandon. I know you've been on our channels, and I'm really proud of you, buddy, and thanks for participating.
Absolutely. Hey, I just want to say really quickly, I promised I would say hello to Patricia Fiki from Fiki Properties in Texas. And this is why I love 10X Owners Live. I get to see you guys. Patricia, everybody cheer her on. She's out there running right now. She's on a jog with her headphones on. And she's new to the 10X Owners Live program. So I just wanted to say hi, Patricia. Thank you so much for coming in. Hope you've enjoyed this and gained so much knowledge. I know the guys are gearing up for the big after show. Josh, Enrique, even Ashley is standing by with the whole group to answer all of your questions that you have about Cardone Ventures and how to work closely with us. Anything in closing, Brandon?
Yeah, you know, I want to tell everybody, I'm so excited about us kind of moving to the next iteration of life. And getting some events on the calendars. I know there'll be things thrown at us. I know there's still disruption in the marketplace. I know there's still a lot of stuff going on out there, and I know we're in an election cycle. I know there's a lot of different elements happening that are touching people's hearts in so many different ways. But here's my commitment to each and every one of you. We are here for you. We're here for those of you that are plugging yourself in, for those of you that are showing up, for those of you that are calling and texting and direct messaging, for those of you who are choosing to be part of a community that's here to support you and help you navigate these rough waters so that we can all accelerate, because here's the truth. With unemployment being where it is, with all the disruption going on in the marketplace, with all the things that are happening right now in the U.S., somebody needs somebody to step forward and lead so that we can get people to work. We can re-inspire people so they can take control of their lives and they can go out and fulfill whatever destiny they choose to have for themselves, those they care about, those they love. I have so much respect for each and every one of you for joining our show. We're committed to your success. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for joining us tonight. The mistake everyone makes in manifesting something is they go too wide, they don't go deep enough, and they're not strong enough in their belief about what they want to create. And they're not talking about it for fear of rejections or fear that their friends will tell them they're crazy. All the things I experienced, you want to manifest something in your life, scream it as loud as you can from the deck. until people say.
Someone hit your block up, I tell you if it was us. Man, a house in Rose